Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle comic review of Marvel Treasury Edition Giant Superhero Holiday Grab Bag. 50 pence it was, special Christmas issue. And this was 1975, all the way back from 1975. Well, you can see the characters that are in it. Obviously Doctor Strange, Luke Cage, Hulk, etc. Obviously Shield and Spidey. And you've got them on the back as well as, of course, Santa Claus. You can't beat, of course, picture of Santa, and a special season's greeting on the back. So there's the spine there. And I love these grab bag ones. I've got a few. I haven't got as many as I would like, but anyway, I've got a fair number. So just going to quickly show the comics that are included in this one. Obviously, these are the American ones. So you've got here Doctor Strange. You can see there, that's issue 180. You've got Marvel Tales. I wonder why they put the reprint edition. That's so weird, isn't it? Reprint. Why didn't they put the Spider-Man one? Very odd. I hadn't noticed that until then, actually, just looking at Marvel Tales. Spidey Goes Mad. Very odd choice. However, it was, of course, originally Spider-Man, I think number 18. I might be wrong. Might not be 18. I think it was in 18 in the UK, so it probably doesn't mean it was 18 in the States. Anyway, I don't remember. So you've got here Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., number 10. Luke Cage, number 7. And 147 for the Incredible Hulk. And some absolutely lovely stories. Not particularly, I would say, Christmas. Some are Christmassy, but some are not. So, got here, there, obviously that front there, Spidey there with a lovely bow there. And you've got the classic, brilliant, I love this one, Frank Springer. Of course, that wasn't Steranko by that point. And you've got the lovely there. What a great, absolutely, 'twas the night before Christmas. And you've got the hate monger character. A character that, well, appeared back in the Fantastic Four years and years and years before. And you've got various great start sequence here with, obviously, Nick Fury. And, well, of course, there's always the usual twists and turns, etc. in the story there. And he then goes off and he meets Laura. Obviously, he initially thinks it's Val. So that's a great thing. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. So it's obviously in the background. And he's just sitting there and, of course, that's obviously cocktails, a Christmas special there, Dakari. Anyway, I don't think I've ever had one. Probably have, years and years ago. However, he goes off to a helicopter and there's all story about the hate monger, which is a great story. Death to Fury. You know, you're straight into the story and, of course, the world is doomed as usual. Luckily, we got Nick Fury and, of course, Christmas Day. And there's a lovely twist in the story as well. It is Christmas, of course. Spider-Man Goes Mad. Steve Ditko, brilliant. One of my favourite early Spidey stories. Love this one. Absolute classic story. Nick Fury had a Merry Christmas after all, but it seems Spider-Man can't have a nice day. I don't know if they ever, well, they obviously did later, but I'm just trying to think of a Spider-Man story. Certainly Ditko. There were no Christmas stories of Ditko period. And certainly probably not even later. They did a few ones with snow, I think. There was one with like the Vulture or something, I think, where it had some snow. Yeah. They could have done that one, I would have thought. That would have been a good choice. But still, this is a great little story. I love this one. Brilliant artwork. And, of course, you've got great character there. And, of course, got all the old original characters that Peter Parker had to do. Flash Thompson, etc. And, of course, you've got Sandman and things. What kind of fantastic trap have I been... What's his name? The thing I loved about these Treasury ones, of course, that they were much bigger than the original comics. And, of course, even bigger than the UK ones. I mean, I haven't got one now around here of the UK comics. But they were bigger and obviously in colour as well. They were pretty impressive and they were always just great. 50p was a lot of money as well. I mean, especially when you were only paying 6p. It was 6p for a UK comic. So 50p, that was quite an additional cost. And, of course, I love the twist at the end. That's always good. And also Jingle Bombs. I was going to say Jingle Bells, but Jingle Bombs. I always keep saying Jingle Bells. But George Tusker, absolutely brilliant with Luke Cage. That lovely Christmassy story. Of course, even Santa Claus turns up in the story. And lovely, lots of snow and all that sort of stuff, which is always great. Always a favourite story, this one. Absolutely brilliant tale. Lots of snow all the way through, actually. All the way through. Once you get to the end of there, I'm not going to spoil the story. There's always the usual twists and turns. Brilliant Hulk story. One of my favourite Hulk stories. Very short Hulk stories. They didn't do many short stories that obviously you did in the early days when you had like Hulk 1, Hulk 2. They were quite tiny, but these are... Heaven is a very small place. Just a classic as far as... I just think it's one of the most beautiful stories of the Hulk, where he just goes to this town, suddenly mysteriously appears out in the middle of the desert, as it does, of course. and he wanders into the town, and everyone greets him happily, and he sees someone and he falls in love and all that sort of stuff. What a lovely little story. He's chatting away. What is wrong, friend, it says, and all that sort of stuff. It's just beautiful, beautiful. He suddenly finds, obviously, for a moment, some happiness, which is really great story. And of course, he gets a bit, what's his name? And again, a lovely twist at the end. Not particularly a Christmas story, but at the same time, it is a Christmas story. It's about, obviously, a family that are friends and everything that he would like and love to have, but obviously doesn't, and it ends just perfect. And also this one's just a classic as well. Great story. Eternity. And it's probably one of my favourite all-time Doctor Strange scenes. You've obviously got all the, with Nightmare and obviously Dormammu and Eternity, etc. But he goes out in the snow for a man in love. And he's got here, he doesn't want to catch some sniffles. Very apt storyline there. But he goes out and clear, looking absolutely wonderful. She goes out in the snow, walking through, just dressed as normal, but not sort of in his usual standard gear. And I like this snow, she says there. What a beautiful scene. I just think that's just one of my all-time favourite scenes in Doctor Strange. Just absolutely lovely. And then, of course, you've got the start of the new year and all that stuff. And, of course, things change very rapidly. But what a classic story. And I'm really pleased that Marvel didn't have vast amounts of sort of Christmassy sort of comics back then. Probably DC maybe had more stories. I don't know. But I obviously other probably comic companies, Archie comes to mind, all those sort of ones. They had lots of Christmas stories. Shazam and things, Christmas stories. But Marvel, can't think of vast numbers of Christmas ones. But I love Christmas tales. And obviously whenever they have these, I think they're just great. Now I think there's a couple of these ones, Christmas ones. And of course, they brought out loads of other Christmas specials afterwards, and they're great. I've over the years bought quite a few of those, and they're always wonderful. So that's it. Giant Superhero Holiday Grabber. This is just a lovely, if you can get a copy of this is a real gem to include in your collection, I think, these Treasury editions. They didn't produce vast numbers of them, 26, 30 odd, I think, in total, back in the 70s, that is. I mean, obviously, they've been bringing a few out since. But in the 70s, I think there was only about 30 odd. And they should all be relatively easy to find still. They're not all super cheap, but if you get them reasonably tatty condition or average condition like this, still reasonably affordable, which is good. So I've just absolutely... I've got like the Conan one, that's great. I haven't got the Fantastic Four #2 one I should have got. I saw that one and it was the same price as this, but I thought... And then whenever I'm at a comic convention, I quite often pick up one and I think, oh, great, I got that one. And I just completely ignore the other ones. And then afterwards you think, why didn't I buy that one as well? Because that was a great one, because it's got the Fantastic Four versus Galactus, and of course, but saying that, now I've got the monster size edition. How many times do you want that story, the Galactus story? But this one, brilliant. Giant Superhero, I'd love to see him bring this out again, sort of something like this. Sadly, of course, it would be about ridiculously overpriced now, but still 50p was still a lot, as I mentioned. So, totally recommended. Brilliant Marvel Treasury Edition Giant Superhero Holiday Grab Bag. 1975. Long time ago.